Hello, I wanted to make a short video firstly to review the Hori Fighting Commando pad, but also to compare it to the Horipad Mini because I could not find any videos directly comparing the two. And at first I was skeptical of getting the Fighting Commander because it appeared that the D-pads on the two were very similar, and apart from the larger size and the extra buttons, I wasn't sure what advantages it would actually bring to me. But now that I've actually got my hands on one, I'm very glad that I did make the purchase, so I just want to show off the two here. The obvious thing is the size. Bringing this into focus here and then like that, you can tell that the Fighting Commander is much larger. Now, I've got quite small hands, so personally I had no issues actually using this controller to play Streets of Rage 4. For Street Fighter, however, I was using the PlayStation 4's default controller, the DualShock 4. I slightly preferred the D-pad on that for special inputs, and also having the shoulder buttons for the fierce attacks, which of course you have the shoulder buttons here, but because of the small size of the controller, you have to cramp your hand in kind of awkward way in order to access those buttons. So for Streets of Rage 4, I would sort of hold the pad like this. I'll use these two for, this is back attack, this is star. And the face buttons, as you can see, they're not too bad. Just pretty standard buttons. These analog sticks are pretty pointless really, unless you're actually playing a game that uses them, but none of my games that I'm playing at the minute really do. But the most important thing is the D-pad, so at least for what I'm using it for. So have a look at this. The actual piece of plastic used on the two D-pads, in my opinion, I think is probably the same. And this, again, this is what I was sort of holding me back at first. But I think actually, although the plastic moulding is the same, it's the technology underneath that makes it different. This is obviously superior quality, and it should be, because it's more than double the price of this. I think I paid about £20 for this, and that brand new, by the way, and this brand new just over 40. So you can, I don't know how well that's picking up on the camera, but you can hear it's sort of slightly loose. If you're doing quick inputs, it tends to squeak. I can't seem to make it replicate that, but essentially the pad underneath here is obviously not the best quality. It feels fine, but that's as far as that's the most praise I can give it really. And to be fair, it has taken me this far playing hundreds of hours of Streets of Rage 4, but when I'm doing really fast sections, lots of dash inputs for blitzes up and down all over the place, it starts to stick sometimes, and that's obviously no good when you're in the middle of the action. So moving on to the Fighting Commander, it feels a lot more rigid, but not too rigid that it hurts your thumb at all to do the inputs. So when I'm just pressing up, down, left, right here, it just feels good. It just feels responsive. I find diagonal inputs are better on this because I think it seems to sort of come out of the controller more. It sort of sticks out more. Yeah, you can. Do you see what I mean? It's more raised because the whatever's going on underneath the shell here is it's obviously using sort of superior quality inputs. I don't know what the correct term for it is, but there you go. Shoulder buttons are not too bad. They feel quite clicky. I'm not super sold on these shoulder buttons yet. You seem to have to hit them sort of quite hard. If you press it softly, it doesn't always register your input, so you've got to bear that in mind. These ones are fine. Again, I tend to use, when I'm holding it like this, my fingers naturally fall on the R2 and L2 buttons. You can switch what they're being used for, which is really handy. So at the minute, I have it set so that these two actually replicate L1 and L2, which for a pad player, when I'm playing Street Fighter, I find that really helpful because I don't use a claw technique when I'm playing. I just hold it like this. So when I'm using a game that requires easy access to 3-punch or 3-kick, I'll map that to L1 and L2, and using that like that is actually easier than using these shoulder buttons here, because doing an input with your thumb and this finger, like it's the same hand doing the D-pad motion and then this, I find that a lot more tricky than having the two independent, if that makes sense. You can also switch the input that this registers between directional pad, left stick or right stick. I don't have a specific use for that, but I'm sure it could come in handy. And then finally, for compatibility reasons, you have a switch which can toggle between PS4 mode, PS3 mode, or PC mode. I've got it plugged into PC, so that is the mode I have it on now, and I believe it emulates the sort of direct input for an Xbox controller if you have it on that mode. I haven't actually talked about the buttons, have I? So I better do that. How do these feel compared to the Horipad Mini? So they feel a lot better again. The quality is superior, they're larger, so if you've got bigger hands, that's a bonus. If you want to play the controller sort of claw style, so like this, that it works absolutely fine. If you have it in your lap, as I say, even though I don't use that style, I tried it out just for a couple of rounds for Street Fighter, and it felt absolutely fine. But you can just tell these are more sort of superior buttons, whereas the other ones are very obviously just pressure pads. These feel like actual buttons. Don't know what's going on under the hood, but the quality is superior. So yeah, if there's anyone who is a die-hard pad player like me, doesn't want to use an arcade stick, and they're just looking for the next thing really, I would definitely recommend this. It's early days, so in terms of durability, I'm afraid I can't comment on that yet. I'm going to have to put it through its paces. You know how speedrunners tend to destroy controllers, but I'll do my best to keep this intact. There you go. There's my mini review of the Hori Fighting Commando and comparison to the Horipad Mini. Thanks all for watching.